have a new idea for Podcast today because it's not only Podcast that's being recorded today. It is also Real Actors, Real Answers. It is Podcast episode 92, and I have a returning guest. Of course, you guys know him. I talk about him on my other episodes. He's been on episode 60 of Podcast, and he's my life coach, an acting coach, David Thompson. Welcome. And we are going to have a conversation today about a couple important things that are happening in both of our lives. And yeah, it's exciting. And we're going to ask each other some questions about our respective journeys that are already started. So it's beautiful. David Thompson is walking across America, and that is starting in a very short 7 days, I believe. So 7 days from today. Today is the 28th of December. Happy holidays, by the way, to everybody. Happy New Year's. Hope everyone's safe and with family and enjoying the festivities. I'm pHumblepodcast. You know where to find me on all platforms. I'm just going to, at the top of this episode, really quickly talk about what's happening in Iran with some updates. They are, as unfortunately as predicted, the regime is planning to, unfortunately, execute several of the innocent prisoners that were just protesters, peaceful protesters wanting basic human rights. There's over 18,000 people in prison right now, and they have already had sham trials, which took 10 minutes from beginning to end with no attorney present or allowed for the defendant, which would be the protesters. And they gave them sentencing them to death for waging war against God. So go figure that out. It's just like the name of these crimes are. It's sad and hilarious at the same time. It's horrible because innocent lives, innocent Gen Z and millennial lives are being taken. Fathers are being taken. Brothers, sisters, daughters, sons. It is a serious issue. You know, I'm a comic, but this is no laughing matter. So we need to be their voice. That's what needs to happen.
Being recorded.
Yeah. So it's a serious issue, and we need everyone's voices outside of Iran, the diaspora, which is myself, but also non-Iranians. If you see it on your social media, just share it. The more we share the atrocities in Iran, the more pressure it is on that government to stay straight and not act a fool as they have been. So that is the unfortunate update. There is the investigation going on now with the UN, and they've been kicked out of the Women's Rights Commission. The country has the government, really. It's not the country, but so that's my update. I'll have more for you guys throughout. If you follow me on social media, pHumblepodcast, I've been posting daily about what's going on. But without further ado, let's start this conversation, David.
Hey, now listen, I got to tell you something. I'm torn by what you said. There was about Iran, and it's like, where do I start? Number one, they need prayer. They need people. Some people in life, they can't speak for themselves, so it's up to us to speak for them. Mm-hmm. You know, God is all about humanity. Look at the cross. You know, God is all about humanity, and that is the single most important thing on this planet is people. And at the very same time, I say that very heartfelt, but at the very same time, it reflects on, I am so thankful and grateful that we have freedom of speech, that we have the ability to, my heart's in my throat now, that we have the ability to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yes. It's that alone can carry you through months when you remember, hey, I have the ability to speak up for my fellow countrymen. I'll just put it that way.
Humans. We're all humans at the end of the day. Yeah. It's
absolutely.
I always say this, borders are fake. They're not, they were invented by man. we made it up, just like a lot of other rules that are made up. And that's actually that's actually part of our conversation today, because and thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. That's very appreciated, because it's anyone, Martin Luther King Jr. He's quoted, right? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So, and with this misuse of the religion of Islam through this Islamic Republic, which is just, they've used it as a tool for power, and it's not even religious. It's just a cult, essentially, and it is a brainwashing technique they've had for 43 years on the elder generation of Iran, but the younger generation is done with it, and that's what's happening now. It's a full-blown revolution, and it's well past 102 days now of people being in the streets, and it's going to continue to do so until this regime is gone, and a replacement of a secular religion, or a secular government, takes over, which doesn't mix religion into it. Actually, that's the real point. It's a human rights based and a humane based government is what we're hoping it'll replace. But it's all up to the people inside Iran. All we have to do is be their voice. That's all we can do. And yeah. So, but speaking of breaking the rules, you are doing something amazing.
It's where do I start? Okay, I'll start.
You start by freezing.
I just ordered this. Okay, this is
all right.
Right. This is a little. It's a powder. Okay, super greens, superfoods, probiotics, enzymes. It's all about plants. Okay. Say, David, why are you starting off with this? Because I'm telling you, you got to take care of your health. Period. And especially when I'm walking, I can mix this in, in water, and it'll help sustain me, because I'm walking across America, American Discovery Trail ADT, on January the 3rd. I'm getting on a bus at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Greyhound. I'm going up to Delaware, not Delaware, Ohio, Delaware, near the Atlantic Ocean, where it officially starts. And then I'm taking the trail southern route, which is, I want to say, almost 6,000 miles, I think. Yeah, and it goes through southern Virginia, a little bit of Kentucky, Ohio, Cincinnati, and Utah and Colorado and Nevada, hot stuff. So, and then to California, where you are at.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm stoked.
It's incredible. It's awe-inspiring. I'm excited, and you're gonna document all of it, and you're going to be you're teaching your classes. You're doing all of the things you're already doing now. You'll just be on the road. I was telling my dad yesterday. I was like, yeah, my life coach he's walking across America. And my dad immediately opens up his Google Maps. He's like, where's he starting? I'm like, Delaware. He's like, where's he ending? I'm like, California. And he looks at it. He's like, that takes 2 months. I was like,
oh no, maybe by car.
Yeah.
No, it's average is 9 to 12 months.
Right. Well, because that was 2 months nonstop walking is what we did the math, Yeah. 2 months of nonstop walking is how that would happen, but it was actually more so about it was more so we did the math of like, if you take time for rest, time to eat, time for replenishment, so that
Sure.
you're able to complete the journey. Yeah, it'll take 8 to 9 months, as you said. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. My question is, what sparked this idea?
Oh, wow. It was about 2019, I'm thinking. I was talking to my brother and sister yesterday. We went out to celebrate late Christmas, and um, it was about 2019, and God put it upon my heart. Although at the time, I thought it was my idea. And I was excited, and I planned this and that, and then life got in the way, as it does. Distraction doesn't mean that you're not focused. It just means,
Right.
like a little sparrow, And but now, over the past year or so, it's gotten really serious. This is a journey called life. And we don't always know the destination, but we know we're on a journey, step by step. And so I've really started to take this. I guess you know what it is. It's like you. Okay, we're going to talk about you too, because I'm excited for you. But when you start taking yourself seriously and what you're doing, all of a sudden you get focused. You get focused, and everything else sort of comes. Okay, this can wait. That can wait, because this is first. And so I have been trying out my practicality. I tried out my new tent, sleeping bag, gear. Okay, just getting practical, because you need to know if it works and how it works. If you're in a blizzard and you're trying to put up the tent and you don't know how, that's not nice. So yeah, and I'm going to be eating better because I have to. What is it with performing arts people? Every time we do a show or do a film, all of a sudden, okay, we got to take good care of ourselves. I don't know what it is, but that's what we do.
Yeah.
So
no, that's true with the performing arts. And if you're not careful, you can eat really bad, because it's something with whatever happens to the mind going into a performance, the preparation, the mental strength to deliver that performance to the best of your ability, seeing that performance through, then finishing it, and then there's this false narrative that happens where you're like, oh, I got to celebrate now, right? Not that there's anything wrong with celebrating, but it's how we celebrate it, right?
Sure.
Celebrating is okay, but the habit is, and I'm guilty of it myself, is we want to eat junk.
Well, can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
One of the movies, either it's like opera, you hate it or you love it. Castaway, the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, and I remember. About him, and he had to get slim and trim, and so that's what he did for the role. However, after he was done with it, then paparazzi took pictures of him, and he was getting fat and sloppy looking, and he was walking down the street eating some McDonald's French fries. So that was his celebration.
Yeah.
It's like it puts a stress on you when you're doing a show, and maybe you just want to okay. I want to be me. Who am I again?
Yeah. No, it's true. It's because I think we talked about this in our class a couple of days ago, is that we think that once we finish that performance, that it's the end of that thing, right? We treat it as if it's finite, whereas creative people are always creating, whether they are aware of it or not. Even the downtimes, right? I'm just looking back at myself retrospectively, and I'm just saying, even in those times where I'm thinking I'm doing nothing, or I'm just dead creatively, I'm actually brainstorming. I'm just trying to find new ways to create and share my language of creativity, which is music, comedy, and acting. So it's and it's that will to be the best version of yourself, you know. So it's like it's that you said it yourself. Acting is life. Life is acting. It's very true. It is. It is a. And when you really break it down, it is that. It's your life. It's a debt. It's and it is whether you pursue it or not. It is, because if you love it, you're either going to be in misery because you're not pursuing it to the best of your ability, but it's always there itching at you, or you're doing it, and you're at least proud, and then you have to be proud of yourself for committing and taking after what that third eye that I call has been telling you to do your whole life. So
Right.
But that's incredible, man. Going across America now. That's starting on January 3rd, so fresh into 2023. And this idea just came to me. As soon as you land, as soon as you are here in California, we must get you back on here to discuss.
Okay.
You see what I mean? Like, we have to put you on Fumble Podcast, whatever episode that will be in 9 months. But I want that. I want that. Like, this is the beginning of it, and then the end of it. It just feels right that we bring you back on. And of course, you're going to be updating us throughout the journey as well. So
definitely on my YouTube channel and Facebook page.
And plug those, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Plant a tree. Excuse me. I'm too excited here. I know what this is. I know what I'm doing. Walk Across America and Plant a Tree with David.
That's the YouTube channel.
YouTube. That's the YouTube channel as well as the Facebook channel. Okay. And I'm OneTreePlanted.org. I'm raising fund. I'm raising awareness to plant new forests because the devastating fires in California, Northwest and West. So for every $1 you want to donate, it plants a tree in that designated area. One Tree Planted covers the whole world. But they give you the option, the choice. Okay, they said, David, where would you like to plant? So I set up a whole account with them to plant trees. There's like 525 trees planted already.
Wow.
But I'm actually ask me how many trees I'm going for.
How many trees are you going for, David?
1,500,000.
Wow.
And I figure, forget Starbucks, plant a tree for $1. Everybody goes, it's for the next generation. And we need trees, we take it for granted.
We take this whole planet for granted. You're right. That's a great, noble thing you're doing, man. I didn't know that. That's awesome. And the trees are all for the Northwestern area? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, like wherever it was affected the most, they choose, because they're the one who plants it. I was asked once, are you going to plant them? No, I can't put that many trees in my backpack. But they're out there with volunteers, and they have stories and videos on it. Oregon, Santa Rosa, California, around the Northwest and the West, wherever it has been affected so deeply.
Yep.
They know what they're doing.
Santa Rosa, it went through a devastating wildfire. I believe it was early last year. And I had friends who lived there that luckily their property was not damaged, but they had to evacuate just because it's not healthy to breathe over there. And
plus, it gives people hope. They plant a tree, and that shows hope. If we don't have hope, I don't even know where to go with that.
Well, listen, hope is, and it's funny because it gives people hope, like you said. But let's just break that down for a second. We live in a world where material is pushed in our face at a rapid pace, at a constant pace. all these Fortune 500 companies that are profiting from that, right? It's constant, all the time, you know. Buy more, buy more, buy more. And we're in a capitalistic country, but it doesn't only apply to America. It's happening throughout the world, throughout the first world, at least, you know. But what you just said is interesting. Is it gives people hope? And what is that? It's literally planting trees, like the most natural thing, right? The least materialistic thing. It's just it's something to give back to Earth, because Earth has taken care of us for all these millennia, you know, and the least we can do is give back. You know? Mother Nature has been upset at us for years, so
That's true.
You know.
Now, I have a question for you.
Please.
Sacramento is known as the land of trees. What is the?
Yeah, city of trees. Yeah,
city of trees, right. And that's where you're at.
I am, and there's multiple types of trees here, if you get what I mean.
I'm sure there is. You're moving from there.
Yeah, I am. So, in the middle of your journey across America, I will be moving down to the greater Los Angeles area. So,
sweet. How come?
The how come is clarity, I think, is the best word I can use to describe it. I just had, again, I'm 37 years young now, and I've had clarity since 33, as we've already discussed in the past. But there's levels to it, you know. There's levels to it that you just know when it's time to make a change. And the old me wouldn't have made this change. The old me would have said, "No, I'm comfortable here. I'm not gonna do it." Right? And comfort is the killer of growth, in my opinion. So, when I learned to live comfortably in the uncomfortable moments, which is an ongoing process. It's a daily learning process. But that mental discipline, what that's taught me is to take opportunities like this, right? So moving to LA is time, because I've had the inclinations to move to LA since I was 27. But for different reasons and excuses and all these things that I created in my head, I didn't. But that's okay. I'm the most important thing I've learned is self-love. And when I learned to be graceful with myself and be forgiving and knowing that life is a journey, the entirety of life is just learning. And mistakes are okay. Repeating mistakes are less okay, but even then, you know, it's just learning from the mistakes. That's part of being a human being. So, and I'm at peace with my past. I'm at peace with the decisions I've made in the past. And the whole reason for that is my whole focus is to stay present. And because I'm staying present, it's telling me in present time that it's time to move to LA. So by June of 2023, I will have been relocated to Los Angeles. Everything I'm doing here in Sacramento, I love. I love Sacramento. It's home. It'll always be home for me. But you know, just like a baby bird leaves its nest, I'm a grown-ass bird that's leaving its nest. So
it's funny. Now you're a stand-up comedian.
That's right.
And from what you've told me, there's more opportunity there, and you have friends there, and you feel more at home there in this season of your life.
I think so. I think it's gonna help me develop my what I just said, staying present, and um, a little bit of healthy competition is good. I feel,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
and emphasis on the word healthy, because it can become unhealthy if you let it. So, um, and so yeah, I think with that, and then more important than healthy competition is cooperation with others and in the same industry, uh, doing the same things I'm aspiring to do. And in Los Angeles, I'm going to be surrounded by that, and what that's going to, and I've made a visit to Los Angeles already, to scope it out, and in a short 3.5 days that I was there, I felt renewed. I just felt fresh. I felt excited. I felt um, driven. I felt like I have so much to offer. I can do so much here, on a professional level with my stand up and acting and music, but also on a personal level with the protests over there for Iran. Right? I was able to like check off so many things that are in my heart. It was just there, and it was just like, oh, there's access, right? The fact that there's access in abundance. Um, the biggest thing it did for me is it gave me uh, even higher drive to make this thing happen. So Sacramento is good. The comedy scene here is great. I have nothing but good things to say about Sacramento and the comedy scene. And it's a smaller knit community, but it's a lot of love, which is beautiful. It's a lot of cooperation, which I mentioned, um, and people really just enjoy each other. Like whether you're on stage or off stage, like there's a lot of good things here. Um, I just have goals that are asking me to, like, from my acting side too. It's requiring me to relocate there. So that's the main reason. It's that staying present, building on my goals, and being surrounded by people in the same industry as me. So.
And that's one of the healthiest things I could ever hear from you. And I have to say, it reminds me of Frank Sinatra when he was in Hoboken, New Jersey, and he was there, and he was like 19 or so, and he was with the Hoboken Five, which was a group of singers, and they traveled here and there, and they got pretty well. But something inside him said, there has to be more for me. I don't know what it is, but and he told his dad, it's like, and his dad said at the time, you should be satisfied with what you have. He said, Dad, I have to do something else. I've got to. So he broke away from the Hoboken Five, which, was four. And then he went out, and, the rest is history. But when you have that inside of you, I have a purpose to fulfill that's growing, and I have to grow with it, because if you don't grow with it, it's sort of like, I don't know, the Hulk losing all his clothes, and then you're a spectacle.
It's the third eye for me. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's your, people have different words for it. And that,
right.
It's it's your soul talking to you. It's whatever you want to call it. It's just your gut feeling, right? It's just that it helps me stay on my path too.
Yes.
Because it eliminates all the noise that's happening, right? The noise that's not for me, right? It's like 100 radio stations all playing at the same time,
and they're vying for your attention.
Right, right. So it's easy to get distracted, but when I'm like you said, when I'm focused on what my heart is asking me to do, then it's like, oh, okay, I understand what that is. It's just not for me. I understand what this is. It's just not for me. it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right, I guess, is the best way I can describe it.
How do you hone in on that, on your soul, on that voice inside of you? How do you push things out of the way?
It takes, I mean, it's not a there's not really a formula that I can tell you that works. It's just that uncomfortability I mentioned earlier. Like it's just being able to let things come through me as opposed to hitting me. Like I the good and the bad, right? There's a basketball player. He's retired now, but his name was Tim Duncan, and he played for the San Antonio Spurs. He won multiple championships, right? But he also lost really pivotal games in the playoffs. But the point of that is, in both scenarios, even keel. He celebrated, but it was like until he actually won the championship or got eliminated, it was very hard to tell whether he is excited or whether he is depressed or whether he's sad or happy. He was always in kind of this even keel. And as a kid, when I watched him, I didn't really get that. But it was like, now I think about it, I'm like, he was just doing what I'm trying to do. He was just.
And it sounds like he was pretty smart too with the public, because when you're in that position, and you're going to be, you reveal things at a certain time because people, the public, the paparazzi, social media, they'll run with it.
Yes.
And so it's sometimes it's wise to, like, don't talk so much until you're ready, in this business.
It's so true, because it's a very aged analogy. It's not even an analogy. It's just a saying, I guess. But it's you have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them proportionately. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're a musician too?
I am a musician. That was my first love into entertainment. I was a singer from the age of 4 years old, a vocalist, and I remember it like yesterday, singing the very first time in the back of my dad's VW Bug in Iran. In Iran, I remember.
Okay.
It was an Iranian song, and it was just playing on the radio. I was sitting in the back. My parents were in the driver's seat and passenger seat, and I'm just, the song comes on, and I just start singing with it. And it was just like a moment of clarity again at the age of 4.
You were 4.
I was 4 years old.
That's 4 years old. When we're clear. That's when there is clarity, and we don't even know what clarity is at that age.
I was just enjoying it, right? It was just, I was just pure. I was the purest form of myself, right? Like that time when you can start to talk and and you can start to have feelings and understand and conversate. Yeah, I was innocent, right? So I guess that's the best word, is innocent. And so anyway, at that point, my parents looked at each other because they heard me sing. And it's like, I never forget that look they gave each other. It was like, I think we have something here, right?
Wow.
It was one of those moments. That's how I interpreted it. There was no words spoken, by the way. It was just a look. But again, I think because I trust that instinctive interpretation, because it was it's looking at your heroes, your parents, right? You're looking at them, and they're acknowledging that you have something special. And it's like, that feels great. Like that, to me, there's like no better praise than that moment, like it was just like, it just I felt free,
You know what you just said, and things like this just come out of me all the time. You know me, but if people would just remember those good times. I don't mean remember intellectually. I mean really focus on that time when you were 4 or 33 or 16 or 18, whatever the season was in your life, and just focus on that. Like Robin Williams in Hook, keep that happy thought. The longer you keep the happy thought, you're going to place yourself in that emotional state, and all of a sudden you feel great. Doesn't matter what age you are. Has nothing to do with your circumstance. Has to do with you, because we're eternal beings. We're immortal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that we have over nature. So,
well, it's true. I think in order to face life's challenges, daily challenges, it's not in the complicated or in the complications of the matter, but it's in the simplicity. I think the answers are all, for me, it's always been in the simplicity. And what do I mean by that? It means there's wars everywhere right now, right? There's a lot of turmoil and tyranny taking place throughout many countries, one of them being my motherland. But I can look at all that and just let it consume me and make me the most jaded version of myself. I can let it completely take control of my life. And I could just be lost in that, right? Because trying to make sense of all of these complications throughout the world, like what is happening there in Russia? What's happening there in Ukraine? Why is Iran on fire? Why is Afghanistan, why are the women kicked out of college and they can no longer be educated? Why is all this happening, right? Why is America so broken right now over a lot of the things that's happening here in our own country here? So it's just taking all of that and then trying to make sense of it. I've done it, so I've tried that, and it's broken me to the point of depression, to the point of not wanting to get out of bed. You and I have had many conversations about this. You lose your drive, you lose your motivation, you lose your interest in people. Eventually, you lose your interest in the things around you. You stop seeing the beauty; you just see the ugly. And it all started by paying attention to the complicated things. But like you said, think back to a pure state of your life. So 33 for you. For me, there was a couple points in my life, but 4, as I mentioned, or when I had my car accident at 16 that almost killed me, and then coming out of that, and I just had such clarity when I realized what had happened. And then I just like, I'm going to pursue my life the way I want to pursue it. I didn't know what that meant at that point, but I've always remembered that. And when I go back to those moments, all the crap that I just talked about, it goes away, because then it's like, oh, there's the beauty. It opens up, right? And then then you can help with those problems, because you become a hope for someone else. You could become someone in Bangladesh, someone in Japan can see one of these episodes and be like,
wow.
We can be like, oh man, yeah, I'm going through that. The world
butterfly effect.
Exactly. Butterfly effect. You taught me that. I didn't know that because I wasn't born here. So
well, it's like just before we started this today, I happened upon I haven't heard him in a long time, but I like his voice. It's the first thing that I like about him, and the rest is, I've got to listen to more. His name is Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins. Excuse me. Oy vey. Tony Evans. All right.
Tony Evans. Okay.
And basically, in the whole message, he said, and I'm paraphrasing, okay, but he said, like, "Where's your butt? Where's your butt?" And it's like this, and you just touched on it. I'm having a really hard time, but this is the positive side, like you. But I live in America, and I'm so glad that I have freedom of speech. I'm having a hard time financially, but I have a roof over my head, and I have hope, and I have people who love me. So you can take your butt and sit it anywhere you want.
Yes.
God, you don't know, but this is getting worse. You can go on the positive side, or you can go over. It's a choice. And go on the jaded side, like you said, jaded, and you can go deeper into your. It's just a matter of perspective.
Word of the day, I think, is perspective, because yeah, absolutely. It's all perspective, because your experience is gonna paint the world in one brush. My experience will paint it in a completely different brush. And then and you and I could either agree on the painting or disagree. But none of that actually matters. Right? Because what really matters is the conversation we're having, the love that we're sharing, and the simplicity of that, right? The topic of our discussion is secondary to the mere fact that we are having that conversation.
It's very true. It's very true. I got to say, this wisdom that you're saying, I've seen you, because you've shown me the different times you've been on stage. You combine wisdom and you take things that are sad and make them happy. You make people laugh. I've seen it. I've seen it. You have a certain way about you that makes people comfortable and want to see you and listen to you. I don't know. It's just a quality that God gave you, and you're funny. You're a funny man.
I try. But yeah, well, my whole thing is no one has ever complained after laughing, but but they've complained after being sad, so it's so why don't we help eliminate complaining, because it only leads to more complaining, and that goes down that rabbit hole, right? So and I'm lucky enough that I can piece together a couple jokes and make people laugh, and take the situation in Iran, for example. I feel like I've been I try to be a advocate for human rights in Iran. Honestly, that's right now the priority of my stand-up. Right, all my jokes, they're funny. Some of them are not, but it's the point of it's not even the point. The point is bringing up what the women are doing in Iran, bringing up what the Gen Z population is doing in Iran, bringing up the fact that they're literally marching against a gun in their face, right? And they're saying, if this is the life you're painting for me, then it's worth dying for, because I'd rather have freedom than have you tell me how to live my life. But bottom line of all of that is, I mentioned this stuff, and it's an art. It's not easy. I struggle with it sometimes, but because being a human rights activist and then also being funny about it, it's like almost polar opposites, right? But
that was like Robin Williams. I mean, he was so intelligent. He took the stories of the presidencies and the government, and just on the list goes. He was a hugely political person, but he turned it around, and with his gyrations and the way he expressed himself, he made people roll in the seats, because he brought it. This is humanity. And many times it's a stinky toilet, but you have to laugh at it. If you don't laugh at it, you'll go crazy.
Right.
I've always amazed at. I was always amazed at his intelligence within his stand-up, and I see that a little bit in you as you're growing as a comedian.
That's an honor to even be in the same conversation as Robin Williams, but it's. Because he was one of my heroes, him and Jim Carrey and Jamie Foxx. These guys were just absolutely. Especially Jamie Foxx, just because of he did literally everything I want to do, like musician, singer, pianist, a funny guy, hilarious, actor, and then the range he has in acting, right? I mean,
Mhm.
when he portrayed Ray and Ray Charles, like you could not tell the difference at some points, right? How well he, emulated his mannerisms, and it's amazing. He had his eyes taped shut for the entire.
He did not.
He did. The commitment, right? Like the dedication, because he wanted to see the world through Ray Charles's perspective, right? And it was. I mean, yeah, but it takes that. Or Jim Carrey when he played Andy Kaufman, right? In Man on the Moon. Same thing. He was no longer Jim Carrey. He would not answer to Jim Carrey, whether the cameras were on or off. Right? He was completely in the spirit of Andy Kaufman, and he was pranking people with the camera off. It's just these stories are just, like that dedication is so powerful.
Dedication, yeah, dedication. If you're dedicated and you're focused, I recently said this to a student, and you're absolutely right on spot, Pej, because it's not the talent. And I appreciate us being here today because I can say this. It's not the talent. Everybody's talented. Everybody has something to offer.
Mm-hmm.
They have the potential.
Mm-hmm.
What they lack sometimes, and what I have to put a check on myself as an actor sometimes, is focus and discipline. Focus and discipline on staying in the moment, like you said earlier, staying present. Because if we're not that, we can, like you said, everybody's vying for our attention. Then we start wandering. And then we lose that momentum, and it's hard to get back.
Oh my God. It is hard to get back, but that's the uncomfortability of life that we talked about. It's just accepting it. It's when we don't accept it is when we have trouble. It's when you accept everything that's thrown at you, and you're just like, all right, I'm not gonna lie. Like when my parents came back, right, from Iran, you know what's going on. When that was a challenge. It was a challenge because it was I was not accepting it. I was not accepting that I have to change the way I'm doing what I was doing in this house, right? And at first I was fighting it. I was trying to fight it. And guess what happened? No one was happy after all that. Like everybody was just, it was constantly headbutting. And then but luckily I had enough wherewithal by this point where I was like, wait, this is not where I want to go, right? This is this stuff. What's my third eye telling me? Oh, okay. Adaptability while continuing on your journey. You're going to face, let's bring it back to your walk across America, because you're going to undoubtedly face some challenges that you didn't expect, right?
Yes, it's true. The weather, okay?
Yeah.
I'm pretty, I burn hot anyway. I don't really get cold, you prepare yourself as much as possible. That's what I figure. And then you learn along the way. Oh, shoot, I should have brought this. Oh, I don't need this anymore. This is just a albatross around my neck. I'm getting rid of it, literally things.
Yeah.
But if you knew everything that was going to happen on a journey such as mine or yours, what fun is that?
If you know the ending of a movie, you're not going to watch it.
Yeah. It's like someone told you, because you missed the football game, and they told you who won. It's like, thanks.
Right.
I just recorded it. Thank you very much.
Well, if it's my team, I already know who won, and it's not my team.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's very true.
But absolutely. I think that's what makes it worth it, is this journey of yours, right? And
it also, and your journey too, it's a journey of faith versus fear.
Oh my God.
And you lean on, goes back to staying in the moment, which is the creed of every actor. And you stay in the moment when you're on camera and when you're off, like Jim Carrey. You mentioned him. So, and
Yeah.
it takes discipline and focus. It takes a choice. You can't please everybody. You're not supposed to.
Yeah, I know it's true.
Yeah.
And you said fear and faith. One of those is not real.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that'd be fear.
Well, it's fear, of course, but it's because it's taught to us. It's taught to us on this life that by our elders or by society, by media, right? By government, if we want to get political. But it's a tool to control,
It
and
is.
and it's not real. Just like but what is real is this, right? What's real is
Your
this.
thumb?
Yeah, my thumb. Well, I hope this is real. But I meant, the 5 avenues of life, right? The
Right. Spiritual,
spiritual,
physical,
physical, mental,
emotional, and then financial.
Yeah. So money itself is fake too, but it's a tool, right? But we never said money. We said financial, and financial can mean more than just money. So
True.
And many people live this way, as you and I have discussed, right? Many people, especially immigrants, especially people of immigrants that have come here from a survival standpoint, because unfortunately their motherland is in turmoil, or it doesn't allow them the freedom that is gifted to us here. So they live this way because it's all about survival. So finances is always up at the top. And I understand that for the elder generation, the people who left what they knew to come here and start over. I get that. I have my parents lived like that. If I wasn't careful, and thanks to you helping me make this clear, I could have continued this. But I realized after having you explain this to me that, my spirit should be number one, not the finances. And by the way, when it's this way, you don't even care about these.
No, you don't.
Yeah. So
no, it's very true. And I learned that from my parents. I'm grateful for that. Okay.
Yeah, same.
But that's how they grew up as well. Okay. Love them like nobody's business. You see them someday again, but there was like this. And you have to reflect. Reflection in life is so important. Ask why. Why? Why this? Why that? Everything has a why. And then you start to form your own beliefs and your opinions and go in a different direction, which God gave everybody free will, and it's just something to do. And you can apply that. I got to say this. You can apply that to any character that you ever want to play.
Yeah. It's so true.
Like Mel Brooks in the movie Life Stinks. I don't know if you ever saw that. It is so funny. Yeah. But
Mel Brooks was hilarious.
But at one point, his character was living with this. I mean, without this, and everything else fell apart.
Right.
It's a really clever way. I love Mel Brooks.
Yes, but, I love him too. He's great. History of the World was hilarious as well.
Yeah.
But I guess my last question I have as far as this conversation in relation to your walk across America, have you thought, or do you have a soft plan, let's call it, for when you reach California? What have you thought about what you're going to do once you're here?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know, but I'm praying about it, and God is starting to open doors. I'm meeting this person, that person. This person is renting a house and things. I want to live near the beach. It's it's in the unknown. It's like I'm learning faith all over again. It's like
It's great.
you need to know where you're at right now, and as you go, because if you're looking ahead too far, you're going to trip.
Oh my God.
You know. But I do want to live with heart's desire is to live near the beach, maybe San Diego, La Jolla, someplace like that, and open up a. I have an online academy, acting academy, but I want to open up a brick and mortar theater type of school where people can come and learn, and I'll need other coaches, and it's exciting. Life should be exciting.
That is exciting. I'm excited for you. That sounds like a beautiful journey that you most likely are going to write a book about at some point.
I am going to start writing a book on my way. I bought a notebook, and I'll probably need more, I'm sure, the way I write. But I want to produce a book. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very major deal. And obviously you and I are going to be in touch throughout this journey. And what's cool about that is by the time you reach California or Southern California, I'll also be down there. So it's
we can meet up.
We will definitely meet up.
I can see you in person on a stage.
That's right. David and I have become good friends. I consider him a good friend. I don't know if he does, but I do. I just feel like it started, our journey started, yours and mine. He was one of the coaches through 99, which is a agency that I signed up for. I met many teachers through there, many coaches. However, David gravitated towards, I gravitated towards David, I should say. And it was just like, when I saw your method of approach, the first thing that I really found warm from you is you said, leave your mics unmuted. Like, I want to hear from you guys on 99. And right. And that's something, it's small, right? But it's also, it showed the humanity in you and your care for the students. And so it was just beautiful to see that, because that led to me reaching out to you for one-on-one coaching. And now it's blossomed into this friendship, and you're helping me. And I hope that, I can help you in some way. But the point is, it's if I didn't pursue my third eye to sign up and do these things, this friendship wouldn't have existed, is my point. And so I'm sure you agree, right? And now, it's like I'm so excited to meet you in person by near the end of 2023. It's going to be a great, and we'll do the podcast in person. How about that? But
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll do
and
it.
You can watch me, because the very first thing I'm going to do, take my pack off, I'm going to just jump in that ocean.
Oh, that's great.
I have not touched Pacific Ocean since 2002.
Wow.
I miss it kind of like my own breath. There's something about the ocean that I adore. I mean, Michigan has its lakes, and that's good. It is, but something for me about the ocean that just captivates me, and I'm just going to fall in. I don't care if clothes or what. I don't care.
Well, please, we need to document that as well, because it needs to be it's like the chapter, right? It's like that final chapter of that walk across America. That's a huge, that's going to be a huge moment. Well, this has been great. I love this. We did a dual show podcast, Real Actors, Real Answers, with David Thompson, and Fumble Podcast with yours truly, Pej the Maniac. And subscribe, follow. Did you want to plug your social media for people to follow you on your journey? Yeah.
Thank you. Well, Walk Across America and Plant a Tree with David. And it has a little cartoon icon of me with a big hat, which I actually have. It's a sun hat. everything that I got is special to protect you from the elements, you know, in Utah and all that stuff. But yeah, Walk Across America and Plant a Tree with David. And you can find all the links in there to follow me. So
yeah. How about your mastermind class?
Oh, Thompson Approach Mastermind. You can find it on davidthompsoncoaching.co.
There you go.
Co, not com, co.
That's
and
right.
just go under the mastermind, click it, and they'll tell you you can follow it. You know, yeah.
It's
so
great.
There you are.
It's great, guys. David is a special human being. He's inspired me, and he's inspired many others that I know personally, and more that I don't know. So this was a great idea to link up our shows together. Everyone have a amazing new year, and we will be documenting David's journey across America. That's amazing. And I'll see you in SoCal.
Thank you, Pej.
Thank you, David. All right, guys. I'm Pej the Maniac. This has been episode 92, as well as Real Actors, Real Answers. Dual show, first time done, and it's going to be great.